All right, hello. Today we are going to talk about comparing fractions. We are going to compare fractions. Now, you've probably seen the compare symbols before. They look like this: greater than, less than, equal to. Okay? For those of you that don't know, you can pretend that this is an alligator, right? It's got its teeth, and an alligator is always hungry, so it's going to eat the bigger number. So whenever you see this alligator face like this, that means whatever's on this side is bigger than whatever's on the other side because the alligator is eating it. Okay? So let's look at this. If we have 2/8 and then over here we have 5/8, which one's bigger? I want you to think about it. There are lots of different ways that you can do this, and in this video we're going to go through several of those ways. The first way that I'm going to show you is by drawing a picture. You can do this every single time. It takes a little bit of time, but you can do it every time. You can draw a picture. So if we have 2 of these, and over here we have 3, 4, 5 of these, which fraction is bigger? Okay? Hopefully you said 5/8, so we're going to make the alligator eat the bigger number, 5/8, the bigger fraction. Okay? So you can draw a picture. You can draw a picture to see. There are some times where the pictures will look very similar, especially if you're not a great artist like me. I am not a very good artist, so sometimes my circles don't look exactly the same. I mean, for the most part, this circle looks like this circle, right? But there are some times where I draw circles and they're not perfect. So you do have to be careful, but this one's pretty obvious. The 2/8 is a lot smaller than the 5/8. Okay? So let's do another one where we draw pictures. This time I'm going to have you pause the video once you see this: 3/4 and 3/8. Okay? I want you to pause the video right now and draw 2 pictures. Pause it real quick, draw 2 pictures, and then say which one's bigger. Once you have your answer, you can play the video again. Okay, hopefully you paused your video and you already have the answers. I am going to show you what I did. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Which one looks like it's bigger? Hopefully you said that one. So I'm going to make the alligator mouth eat the bigger number. This symbol right here means 3/4 is greater than 3/8. 3/4 is greater than 3/8. Okay? Because in my picture, this one is a lot bigger than this one. Okay? All right, if you don't want to draw a picture for this one, you don't have to. 2/4 and 2/6. But you do need to answer it. Okay? So pause the video until you have your answer, then you can play. Okay, this picture's not perfect, but hopefully you already did. You already found out what your answer is. I've got 2/4 over here, and I've got 1, 2, oops, just 2. So 2/4 over there and 2/6 over here. Which one is bigger? Hopefully you said 2/4 is bigger. If I had 3/6, then it would be the same, right? But it's not. 2/6 is a lot smaller than 2/4. So the alligator mouth is eating the 2/4 because 2/4 is greater than 2/6. That's how I would say that. Okay? So that's one way that you can solve these problems. I realize sometimes you have a quiz or a test or an assignment that has a lot of these problems, and it's going to take a long time for you to draw a picture for every single one, right? So there is another way that you can solve these problems without having to draw pictures. But if it is easier for you to draw a picture, then just draw a picture. That is an okay way to do this. Okay? But if you want to learn a faster way, then stay tuned. We're going to talk about that right now. Okay? So, one thing that you need to know is if the top numbers, what we call numerators, if the top numbers are the same, and the bottom numbers are different, then that means, and this is going to trick our brain, okay, if the top numbers are the same, but the bottom numbers are different, whatever number is smaller on the bottom, 3 is smaller than 6, so whatever number is smaller on the bottom is actually the bigger fraction. Let me show you what I mean. I know I said we weren't drawing pictures anymore, but just watch this. It's hard to draw 6. Okay, so if we have 3 pieces on the bottom, that means the pieces are a lot bigger than if there's 6 pieces on the bottom, right? If your mom said, hey, we're going to make a pie, but you only get 1 piece, do you want me to cut it in half or do you want me to cut it into 8 pieces? If you only get 1 piece, then you want her just to cut it in half because then that means you get 1/2 of the pie, right? So it is a little bit tricky, but just remember this, and if you want to write this down in your notes or something, that might be helpful. If the top numbers are the same, if the numerators are the same, then look at the bottom number, and whatever bottom number is smaller, it's actually the bigger fraction. And if that doesn't make sense to you, then you can draw it out like this, and you can see, oh yeah, that makes sense. If I had 2 of these, that's a lot bigger than 2 of these, right? You want the number on the bottom to be smaller because that means the pieces are bigger. So let me show you another example. Let's go back to that pie example. Okay, let's say we have 1/2 and 1/8. So again, your mom is only going to let you have 1 piece of pie. Do you want 1/2 of that pie or 1/8 of that pie? Well, let's think about it. You got 1/2 here. Do you want 1/2 of the pie or do you want 1/8 of the pie? Okay, if you don't like pie, think about it something else. Okay, so obviously 1/2 is greater than 1/8 because remember what we said, if the top numbers are the same, then look at the bottom number, and whatever number is smaller is actually the bigger fraction. So 2 is smaller than 8, which means this one is actually the bigger fraction. Okay? Oops, let's do one more. Okay. So if the top numbers are the same, 3/6 versus 3/4. If the top numbers are the same, you look at the bottom numbers, whatever number is smaller on the bottom, it's actually the bigger fraction. And remember, this trick only works if the top numbers are the same. If the top numbers are not the same, then you can't use this trick. Okay, this is only when the top numbers are the same. So, I want you to pause the video and I want you to solve this one. Pause the video right now, and then don't turn it back on until you've solved it. Which one's bigger? Okay, hopefully you already paused your video and you already figured out what it was. Okay, I'm just showing you a picture, but you don't have to draw a picture if you already know how to do this. Okay, looking at the pictures, you can tell that this one is larger, right? Because if the top numbers are the same, 3 is the same thing as 3. The top numbers are the same, then look at the bottom numbers, and whatever one is smaller, 4 is smaller than 6, that fraction is actually bigger. We want the pie pieces to be smaller because then that means the pie pieces, we want the number of slices to be less than over here, like 6, because that means the pieces are actually bigger. Okay, if you had 1 slice of this, it's a lot smaller than 1 slice of this, right? So we want the bottom number to be smaller because that means the pieces are bigger, okay? We want the bottom number to be smaller because that means the pieces are bigger, and we like pie. Okay, I'm going to give you one more, and I want you to solve this one. We've got 2/8, and we've got 2/6. Pause the video, solve it, and then hit play. All right, for this one, I am not going to draw a picture, but what's the answer? 2/6 is bigger because 6 is a smaller number, which means the pieces are bigger, which means 2/6 is bigger than 2/8. So you would say this, 2/8 is less than 2/6. 2/8 is less than 2/6. Okay? That is one strategy if the top numbers are the same. Now let me show you another strategy. If the bottom numbers are the same, we've got 1/4 over here and 3/4 over here. Guess what? That one should be easy because all you got to do, you know, the whole thing is 4. So what's going to be bigger if you have one of those shaded in or 3 of those shaded in? Hopefully you know that 3/4 is going to be bigger than 1/4. This is 1/4 and this is 3/4. Right? So 3/4 is a lot bigger than 1/4. Okay? So if the bottom numbers are the same, then it doesn't trick your brain. You just go for the bigger number. Okay? And sometimes that's confusing because sometimes you're thinking, oh, if the top numbers are the same, this is the rule. If the bottom numbers are the same, this is the rule. But don't try to just memorize that. Just try to understand it. Think about it. You guys probably know this already, right? If I said I have 3/8 of a candy bar or 7/8 of a candy bar, which one is bigger? I mean, you guys have seen that before, right? You know what 3/8 looks like. 1, 2, 3. And you know what 7/8 looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which one's bigger? Obviously this one, right? 3/8 is less than 7/8. Okay? So again, I don't want you to try to just memorize if the bottom number is the same, if the top number is the same, because that's just going to trick you. Like you're going to somehow forget that. It's going to mess you up. I don't want you just to memorize it. I want you to think about it, and I want you to understand it. Because I know that you know 3/8 is smaller than 7/8. Right? If I have a pie that's cut into 8 pieces and I give somebody 3 and I give a different person 7, obviously the person that I gave 7 to is going to have more pie. Right? Let's do a couple more practices. After each one of these, I'm going to have you pause your video so that you can do it yourself. Okay, so pause the video, solve this. Is it greater than, less than, equal to? I want you to solve it, and then hit play. All right, hopefully you solved this. Don't cheat. I'm watching you. 5/6 is correct. 5/6 is bigger. Why? Because if you have 6 pieces of pie and you give someone 2 and you give someone else 5, the person that you give 5 to is obviously going to have more pie. All right, we're going to do one more. What's bigger, 1/3 or 2/3? Bottom numbers are the same. Pause your video. All right, don't cheat. I'm watching you. 2/6 or 2/3. Sorry, 2/3 is bigger than 1/3. So you would say 1/3 is less than 2/3. Okay. There are lots of strategies. You can do pictures. You can think about it with the bottom numbers being the same, the top numbers being the same. In my mind, sometimes I don't have to draw pictures. I can just picture it in my mind. In my mind, I can picture a circle that has 3 pieces. I'm going to draw it because you can't see what's in my brain. Okay, in my mind, I can picture that, and then I can imagine one of them colored in, and then I can imagine 2 of them colored in. And obviously, the one with 2 colored in is going to be bigger. So that's why I say 2/3 is bigger than 1/3. So again, I really want you guys to try to picture these things, these fractions. Don't just try to guess. Don't just put like, oh, this one's greater than, oh, this one's less than. Actually think about it, because I really think you guys know more than you think you know. Okay? So I have put some games on Canvas. So if you want to practice, you can practice with Quizlet, and I will show you and explain how that is going to be done. Okay? Good luck to all of you, and try to beat my high score. All right, I am going to show you how to play Quizlet Gravity. So you go to the one that says Gravity. Right here it says make sure it says definition. Click on the link. You're going to hit get started. And remember it said make sure it says definition. That's what you're going to check right here. It cannot say term and it cannot say random or the game will not work. So it needs to say definition, then hit let's go. Hit start game. What you're going to do is you are going to figure out what goes in between these parentheses. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to? This one is equal to. So right at the top of your keyboard, you're going to hit equal to. Wait for another one to come down. Which one's bigger? 2/3 is bigger, so you have to hit shift and then the greater than sign and then hit enter. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. You're going to hold shift down and then hit the greater than sign. Hold shift, hit the less than sign. Just like you do when you do shift : for your password when you log into the computer. You have to hold shift down and then hit this button for the greater than sign. Hold shift down and then hit that button for the less than sign. For the equal sign, you just have to hit equals up at the top. You don't have to hold shift, okay? And once you do that in Quizlet Gravity, don't forget to hit enter. So you do the symbol and then hit enter. Do the symbol and then hit enter, okay? If you miss one, it will tell you what the answer is right here, and you have to hit the answer and hit enter, and then it will let you keep going. That's equal, and so just wait for them to keep falling. If you miss one, it will come back as a red asteroid, and you cannot let that one hit the ground. Okay? If you let that one get all the way to the bottom, then you lose. Okay? I have a pretty high score, so see if you can beat my score. If you beat my score, I will give you a prize.